At Celtic Park, Chris, as you know, there was an emotional farewell, a tribute to the leader, to the captain, Scott Brown, as he played his last home game in green and white.
Dear Scott Brown.
Brownie.
Our captain.
Leader.
Legend.
Thank you for all you've done for this club.
My club.
Thank you for the titles.
For the trophy lifts and the parties.
The goals.
All 46 of them.
And who can forget the celebrations?
The team talks, the huddles.
The tackles, the wind-ups.
We will never forget that historic quadruple treble.
You've been invincible. Unstoppable.
Now,
we go our separate ways.
But know that you'll always be part of our club.
Our history.
To Scott Brown,
we say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris, what a player Scott Brown has been. What a captain as well. 22 trophies. And it didn't feel right at all, did it, midweek? For his last home game in green and white, not to have any fans there to give him the send-off that he deserved.
Yeah, absolutely gutted for Scott Brown that the fans weren't allowed in the stadium, that they weren't there to give him the send-off, which he thoroughly deserved. He has been an unbelievable leader for Celtic, and the word legend is often bandied about, but it's thoroughly deserved in this case. And I've seen criticism from former players saying he doesn't deserve that legend status. I don't know whether that's jealousy or what, but it's absolute nonsense. We'll look back in years to come at the job that Scott Brown has done at Celtic as captain, 4 trebles, numerous trophies, I think 22 trophies in all as a Celtic player, and he has been an inspiration. He is going to be sorely missed. Players in the dressing room look up to him, he's had respect of managers, and Celtic, just quite simply, for the next few seasons, isn't going to be the same. He is going to be a great loss for Celtic. I wish him well up at Aberdeen. I think Celtic were too slow in acting, and they should have tied him down for longer, because I believe he still would have had a role to play at the club. But, he's going to be a big loss for Celtic.
He's had a brilliant career at Celtic. I expect him to have an influence, obviously, at Aberdeen as well. The only problem he's had in his career at Celtic is realising when it's live television and not live television. That's the only thing that's kind of let him down, you know what I mean?
What a way that was to go out.
Oh, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I'm the same as Chris. I really am genuinely disappointed for him that he didn't get the opportunity to say goodbye to the Celtic support and for them to pay tribute to him. But he will. He'll come back, obviously, with Aberdeen, and I would expect, the Celtic supporters to appreciate and thank him for the job that he did with Celtic. So I congratulate him 100%, and I wish him all the best in his move. And I just go back to that day he signed with Celtic, and it could have been oh so different, It could have been oh so different. But well done, Bruni. Well done, son.
Yeah, imagine what he could have. Imagine what he couldn't have won had he made a different decision.
Just before we finish, go on.
It was very much for Bruni. It was very much a Jim Bowen moment on Bully. Here's what you could have won. Here's what you could have won, son.
Chris, just before we finish on Celtic, some headlines this week. Conor McGregor thinking about buying the club in the future. Apparently spoke to Dermot Desmond about buying some shares.
Right.
Might be interesting. And also, just before we started talking today, there was some stories coming out that maybe Celtic would be interested in Kevin Nisbet, Aaron Hickey as well. Are those the kind of players you think that would help?
Look, I like Nisbet. I do like Nisbet. I think he's a good goal scorer. It'd be interesting to see whether he goes to the Euros with Scotland. looks like Edouard will be on his way. Do I think that it would be a like-for-like replacement in terms of presence, stature, goal numbers, albeit Edouard hasn't been at his best this season? I think he would be a downgrade on Edouard, if I'm honest, but I wouldn't say it'd be the worst signing. Hickey, I think, has done well in Italy this season. Is at Bologna, which he's been at and had some really good reviews. Celtic need strengthening in the fullback areas. That one would make sense.
I think this would be a good signing. I also think I wouldn't rule out Conor McGregor sitting in front of the back four next season for Celtic. I think that would be an option to look at. Could certainly be an able replacement for Bruni. You know, could be similar players. In fact, could be similar players.
Right, on that note, we'll